You have already heard of making six-figure salaries and working from home and all the benefits that come with being in tech. But what are some downsides of being a software engineer? Stress, deadlines, being on call, doing interviews, the bug or project you're working on, how does it impact your performance review? Are you going to get a promotion? Are you going to get pipped? All of these things create an environment that can be stressful on a daily basis as well as long term. Up to a certain level, stress can actually be helpful. It can push you beyond the limits that you define for yourself. But past a certain point, it's destructive no matter who you are. Every team or company that you join, there is an existing culture that you enter into. If they're used to tight deadlines, if they don't respect work-life balance or punish engineers for simple mistakes, that's something that you're entering into and you can't do anything about, at least for months or even years after you join. So the only chance that you have is during the interview to ask the right questions and read between the lines. I usually start with directly asking, what is work-life balance like in your team? Usually honest people go on and share even more information than you need, and that gives you an idea. If I feel like they're holding back, that's the first red flag, but then I try to drill down a little bit. For example, I ask, okay, well, how's the operational work? How many tickets did your on-call person have last week? And remember, when you ask questions that show you care about your own work-life balance a lot, that can come off as a red flag for managers that intend to work you to death. And I'm perfectly fine with that. A team that doesn't think questions like this are appropriate is not a team I want to work for. A few other things that can stress you out are imposter syndrome, deadlines, and the work itself. One of the things that you learn as you grow as an engineer is to learn the non-technical skills that can make your life easier on a daily basis. For example, early in your career, you may think that if you think something can get done in a day, you will tell your manager, hey, I'll be done with this tomorrow. You will see that, oh, there's always some edge case or something you may run into that may drag the problem along and it may take 2-3 days. So as you grow, you realize to make promises that are a lot more realistic, you estimate better, and you also try to account for the unexpected things. So if I think something is going to take 2 days, I will quote my manager 5 days. The mother of all stressors in the tech industry is related to the golden shackles that they handcuff you with. So you get paid really well, which means you're going to, feed your family, buy that fancy car or lock yourself into a mortgage or whatever you do with that money. It definitely feels good to see the money coming in, but it also means that you may have the fear of losing that. Underperformance is only one of the reasons that you can lose your job. Macroeconomic situations, big layoffs, somebody not liking your face, or you voluntarily wanting to run away from a job are all the other reasons that paycheck that's coming in may stop. So how should you deal with the underlying stress from the thought that I'm going to lose this paycheck and all the consequences that come with it? First, you got to be financially healthy. If you get your first paycheck and go spend it on a BMW, that's not a very wise decision. If you lock yourself in a $2 million house mortgage, again, that's going to tie you down to that job and you're going to bend backwards a lot more because you need that paycheck coming in fast. I'm not going to talk too much about financial decisions for this video, but in general sense, live beneath your means. The second way to navigate this stress is to always be ready. So assume the worst. Assume that tomorrow something can happen and lay you off. Are you ready for it? Do you have enough savings? And are you ready to interview? One of the things that I try to do, regardless of my job situation, regardless of how much I like my current team, once a year or so, I interview. First, I'm testing the water. I'm realizing, am I ready in case something happens? But also, I get a good sense about the market. Is the pay still the same, or am I worth a lot more with the current market condition? And you also increase your network. You get to know different people. You learn something new from each interview. So if your employer ever has irrational expectations, you can respectfully show them the finger and go to a position that still feeds your family and pays your mortgage. You mostly sit as a software engineer, so if you're not disciplined about getting a standing desk for yourself and using it, getting up, doing a push-up or a squat once an hour or so, then you're going to have health problems as early as your 30s or even sooner. I try to play soccer, go to the gym or long walks. I try to be active when I'm not sitting at my desk working. If I can give you one brotherly advice, it's that your physical health matters a lot more in your happiness than your compensation or your tech knowledge or anything else. It also contributes to you being more successful in your career. Computers can make you impatient. Microsoft ran this study that showed our attention is interrupted every 8 seconds. Working with computers can also atrophy that muscle that works when you talk to humans. If you notice, a lot of software engineers, especially in the lower levels, don't have high emotional intelligence. And it makes sense if you think about it. What we do is we think in terms of if else's, in terms of for loops, and we logic our way with the computer. So that muscle is working all the time, but usually we are not interacting with humans that often as much as doctors or marketers or salespeople do. So obviously outside of your career, emotional intelligence is very important for you to make smart decisions in your life. But even within your career, as you move up as a software engineer, you will realize that emotional intelligence is even more important than your IQ. Making great software, larger projects, usually requires other people, other teams, sometimes even other companies or even other countries. So if you are able to get consensus from people, if you are able to gain people's trust, get them to work alongside you for long periods of time, that's a skill that's a lot more valuable than the framework that you know or the algorithms that you memorized. The only way that I know to increase your emotional intelligence is to interact with humans. If there's a cross-functional project, get in it. If you have opportunities to network with people outside of work, do it. And you don't have to be an extrovert for any of this. I'm an introvert. I usually am very uncomfortable before an event, but I try to get outside of my comfort zone and invite these opportunities into my life. Another problem that you will run into at some point in your career is company politics. Early on, you may think that your knowledge, your technical abilities is the only driver of your career, but usually that's not the case. So a very common and simple example of it is when there is a performance-based culture. Let's say the top 10% of a team are going to get this performance bonus cash and the rest of the team are not going to get it. So when you're caught in the middle of something like this, what are you going to do? Your initial thought might be I just want to focus on my technical work and get rewarded for my skills. But unfortunately, that's usually not enough. You usually have to get people on your side, which goes back to the emotional intelligence point, and try to get people to want you to be successful. There's not a single prescription that will help you navigate all company politics situations, but my only suggestion is to not be naive. Realize that other people are smart. They may make decisions to feed their own family, to make money as fast as possible. They may make decisions that are not aligned with your principles. So the only way to get smart about things like this is to be interested in people, to want to learn how other people think. Gradually, that will help you to get smarter and make better decisions. Change is a constant, especially if you want to grow, you need to keep learning new things or at least solve hard technical challenges. Personally, I enjoy it. It's one of the reasons I wanted to be a software engineer, but I understand the flip side of it too. Time is finite, there is a lot more to do in life than learn every new framework and algorithm. I don't think there's a way around it early in your career. The more you can consume information and learn new things, the more valuable you are to the team. But as you grow, gaining depth in a field or two is sufficient as long as you can communicate well with other specialists, with your backend, frontend, DevOps, machine learning engineer, and deliver the impact. That's all that matters. Of course, all of these problems that I mentioned are negligible next to tough careers like being a nurse in the middle of a pandemic. But I would say if you can navigate these challenges successfully, it can improve the quality of your life quite a bit. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the video. If you want to support my channel, hit the subscribe button. That will keep me motivated to make more videos like this. See you around.